Hey guys, how's it going? Laying under the truck here, looking at a couple things, and we got a few slight leaks. Of course, any project, as you button things up, do fine tuning, you're going to come across some leaks, some things you didn't maybe tighten up enough or whatnot. So, kind of wanted to go over um, leaks and their classifications in the motor pool. So I've actually worked on vehicles in motor pools before. Working on Humvees and all. And we have a three-tier classification system on leaks. And those tiers are a class 1 leak, a class 2 leak, and of course finally a class 3 leak. So one being the least and third of course being the worst. So let me just kind of give you an example. And this is mainly stemming from, I deal mainly with M35s on the channel here, right? So this is mainly, I see people talking all the time about how their deuce leaks and it leaks here and it leaks there, and people always go, oh, if it's not leaking, it doesn't have any oil in it, and oh, that was acceptable in the military because they all leaked it, and that's not necessarily true. Okay, I will show you the significance of that and why people say that. So let me turn the camera around. I'll start showing you a couple of examples on here, alright? So, this is my transmission. A class 1 leak is going to be a certain range, okay? A range being something like this, where you can just kind of see it's got some moisture maybe seeping out of this whole gasket here and making things just kind of wet around it, but really not enough to make your hand oily. This ranges from that to something like this, the drain plug, where it's kind of moist around it, but it's not actually leaking or forming any drops, just sitting here, right? So that would be a class 1 leak. That is what the military terms as acceptable to CIS, or continue in service. The procedure for dealing with a class 1 leak, when the quality assurance inspector or the QC, the guy goes over the vehicle, is if he sees this, the procedure is to clean, road test, and reinspect. If you are to take some brake cleaner and clean all this off, make sure it's nice and dry, or go out to the wash rack, get under it and steam clean it and dry it, and then road test it, and you come back and it's dry, it's fine. Requires no corrective action. If you road test it and it comes back and there's still a bit more wetness showing, your inspector can specify if he wants to require any more in-depth maintenance, remove such and such and retighten or try to retorque it, or he can elect to just write CIS on the paperwork, which once again is continue in service, no further action required. Now that would be left until, of course, it turns into a class 2 leak. Now class 2 leak is a little more serious. Class 2 leak will actually form a drop after a road test, okay? Now this is obviously gear oil from the transmission. This is, of course, I'm running a synthetic oil in here to deal with the extra torque from the Cummins to help the gears out. Oh shit. Help the gears and the bearings. So, just sitting here idling. Of course, some of the gears in there are spinning, and it throws oil up on the top cover, and it seeps out around the brand new and, I might add, properly torqued top cover gasket with copper coat on it, and it runs back and down here and forms a leak. So that is not acceptable in a motor pool. This requires immediate attention, because this is this is now what they call NMC, or not mission capable. You would not want to send a vehicle into combat like this, because you don't know how long the vehicle is going to be used before it can be serviced again or repaired. and it could lead to an excess loss of fluid, which results in a failure. So that is no longer mission capable. The quality inspector would tell you to bring the vehicle in. He'd write up a repair order, change the top cover gasket, change the fluid, clean, and check. So the third would be a class 3 leak, which would be anything worse than that. A leak that's actively dripping as the vehicle sits and idles, or just sits not running. The class 3 leak would also require immediate service. So when people are talking about their head gaskets on their multi-fuel leaking and saying, well, that's acceptable as far as the military is concerned, that's not true. If it's a class 1 leak, it is. If it's a class 2 leak or above, it would require a head gasket change. So I just wanted to explain that. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope that's a little helpful information for you. Don't forget to check out our sponsors in the description below, and we'll see you next time. Like and subscribe. Later.